How's it going? Adam Drake here, and today I want to talk a little bit about rough driving and chaos on the track. So, more and more nowadays, we end up having these large events where, kind of in my opinion, a lot of times the mains end up with too many people in them. And that's just purely due to the large turnouts, trying to make sure people have track time. You have to pack more people into the races. And with more people in the races, it's more difficult for the announcer or race director to kind of have their eyes on the entire field. So, with that being said, it seems as though racing is kind of getting rougher and more chaotic. And I don't want to be one to kind of point the finger, but I do think this is something that the entire RC community can kind of come together and hopefully work on, especially for these larger events. Now, I understand being an announcer or race director can be a very, very difficult job, but if nothing is ever said or done, there's never going to really be any changes or improvements. And I feel like it's getting to the point to where no one wants to really be the bad guy. No one wants to call anyone out when there's rough driving. You can always kind of bring up the point of you don't know if, we'll just use myself in Mayfield, for example. So if the official sees me take out Mayfield, gives me a stop and go penalty, Mayfield could then complain afterwards and say, well, he took me out first, or I took him out first, vice versa. So you don't always know who took out who first. Are they retaliating? But at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. Like there needs to be someone who's able to kind of be the eyes on the drivers to make us kind of calm down, be a little bit more respectful with one another. And let's face it, if I take out Ryan, that wasn't right on my part, but him taking me back out isn't right either. So two wrongs don't make a right. I want to see like good, hard, clean racing, but it's gotten to the point to where you don't see any stop and goes, any rough driving penalties at pretty much any of these events anymore. And I think a lot of it, again, is just because the turnouts are so big, you don't really have time or don't want to have the headache or hassle. So you're just kind of like cycling through people. But what I would really like to see is not only the drivers kind of try to do a little bit better part themselves, but we need to have either officials or race directors or people in place that are willing to at least set the tone. Now, this doesn't mean you have to get every call correct. You're going to miss stuff, not see stuff. But the way I kind of look at it is, when we're driving on the freeway, almost everyone speeds. But the second you see a cop, you slow down. You go closer to the speed limit. If you're driving home and you come up to a stop sign in your neighborhood, most of the time people just kind of slow down, roll through the stop. If there's a police officer on the corner, you make sure to come to a complete stop. Now, again, this doesn't have to be we have police officers on every corner or race officials on every corner, calling people out for every little thing. But I feel like it's gotten out of hand. And if we're able to at least set the tone and drivers know that there is the potential for getting called out, getting a stop and go, getting positions taken away, it's going to make us all slow down, drive the speed limit, come to complete stops, so on and so forth. I hope that analogy kind of sets in. But another analogy would be, I feel like when we're on the driver's stand, we're kind of like children in a classroom, and the race director is the teacher. When the teacher turns her back, kids are kind of a little restless and maybe passing notes or shooting spitballs. When the teacher turns around, we're on our best behavior. We're looking straight forward, acting like we're paying attention. So not trying to like point the finger, but let's face it, at the end of the day, The person with the microphone in their hand is the one who's kind of calling the races, setting the tone. And if that's not enough, maybe events need to have additional officials to be able to, again, make the children in the classroom a little bit better behaved. It's all of our fault. We're all kind of guilty here and want to see everyone get better. There's been some incidents recently, especially at races, where there's big titles on the line or money on the line, and tempers, get kind of pushed to the limit. And sometimes you'll see the comments and people want to say that, can't believe you would get that excited over RC cars, but let's face it, for a small percentage of people, and these are usually the people that are going to show the most emotion, this is what they do for a living. And regardless of the amount of money, whether it's $500 or $5,000, let's face it, if you had that money in your hand and someone just literally walked up and snatched it out of your hand, you're not going to be happy about that. You're going to try to get your money back. So again, let's just all try to be better. Let's try to see if we can have some of these larger events have a little bit more kind of eyes on the racers. And again, just set the tone. I think that in racing, the biggest penalty shouldn't be, oh, you have to give the position back for the person you took out. In some cases, maybe it's a 5-second penalty. Maybe it's a 10-second penalty. You look at all forms of sport, whether it's stick and ball sports or racing, there's officials. And I think we're to the point now to where in RC we need more of that. Some events already do have that, so it's not that that's the case for all events, but a lot of the events it's becoming where there's so many entries and the racing on the track has become a little bit hectic, and I want to see that improve.